and Aaron, how their offensive games are developing. Obviously, you've talked about the veteran backcourt kind of carrying you guys through the start of the season as those guys in the front court develop on the offensive end, and just where are they at in that?
Yeah, listen, I think it's one game, and it's not fair to judge either of them when they were both struggling with foul trouble, and there was a choppiness to their minutes. It was hard for either of them to get into a rhythm. But, I think for them the key is going to be to keep things simple offensively as they continue to, I think, get that experience. But, like I told both of them, we're going to need them to produce, in the minutes that are going to be there for them. So it's not just, hey, just kind of be out there doing all those other things. You got to be able to do those other things and produce, and it'll come. It'll come. I feel really confident in what those guys are going to be able to do as the season progresses.
Just because we watched film on Aaron, but how much of where is his post-up game? How much is that part of his skill set? We know he can stretch the floor and shoot and things like that, but where is he from just a post standpoint?
Yeah, I think, listen, he's got great touch in kind of that 4 to 8 foot range. And I think that's you don't see a lot of people with great touch in that area. So a lot of his production in the paint may come in the form of short jump shots or things like that. So, and we're comfortable really with both those guys posting them off the block to allow them to use their athleticism and skill. Maybe for both those guys getting in a wrestling match, on the block isn't necessarily a strength, but we do want to be able to take advantage of, getting them the ball in the paint. And sometimes it's going to be them driving it to the paint. I think will probably be as they get comfortable doing that, it'll be real good for us.
And you had a lot of really good open looks from three. I don't know if you went in saying we're going to shoot that many threes. I don't know if you even have a cap on how many threes you want to shoot. But was that about what you thought as far as, I know when they're going in, you're getting good looks, you're going to keep taking them. But should we expect that many threes every night for you guys, or is that going to vary?
I think we just, we really just want to get a good look. And we want to we want to play with an aggressiveness and confidence to take the first good look we get. And if we can create a three, especially after a paint touch, we absolutely would love to have a bunch of those. I think some games, depending on how we're being guarded, will dictate. We also don't want to just force up threes to shoot a certain number either. And I think one of the things an adjustment we made, because we had a direct conversation, you could say, about it at halftime, was our efficiency inside the three-point line. And our guys deserve a ton of credit. I think of a couple. I think it was Michi and Micah, if I remember. Both had drives and slowed down, drew two guys, and it ended up in kind of dump downs for really uncontested dunk and layup. So I thought our guys, took the coaching and went out and executed the adjustment to play with more poise, and certainly with the way we shot the ball in the first half, I think they were more intentional about guarding the three-point line, and that's the sign of a good team that can kind of shift maybe a little bit and take advantage of teams that adjust like that.
Yeah, obviously pace of play was a huge emphasis over the offseason. Just looking at this game, were you pleased with the pace of you guys played with, or is there still room for improvement?
Yeah, I think it was good. I think there were times where we could have probably maybe taken advantage even better and gotten out even a little quicker. But I think too is that, and this is what I want for us. I want us to be smart with it and be poised with it. I felt we had too many turnovers early in the shot clock. We got to clean that up. But as we continue to play and get live reps of playing at that pace, that'll get better. But, there in the second half, I also thought we had some great, just kind of deliberate, patient possessions, that helped control the game. So thought we played with a great deal of maturity, but I do think that wasn't the best we can do from a pace standpoint. So I'd expect us to keep hopefully getting better at that. But again, we got to take care of the ball, and we don't want to play reckless either.
Jake, I think a lot of Buckeye fans realized what kind of player Micah Parrish is And if you've watched college basketball in San Diego State, they've got a great program. I think their coach averages 25, 26 wins a year. But could you speak to his savvy level? And he just seemed to be making the right reads, whether it was to shoot it or to pass to somebody who was open, just what he brings to you guys as a starter.
I thought he played a really poised game. At times in practice, as he's gotten used to maybe a little bit more freedom offensively. At times he's passed up maybe a catch and shoot three to drive into traffic, and he's a good player. He can score at 3 levels, but I've just encouraged him to take advantage when you have space behind the 3-point line, because he's a good shooter. And if we can put teams in rotation or create space for catch and shoot threes just collectively, it's a great shot for us, and I think he showed it's a really good shot for him. And then you saw him play with poise in the paint, and he's a two-way player. I think that's important as well. So I thought it was a great start for him. And I think one of the beautiful things about this team is we got a handful of guys who are capable of maybe being, I guess having loud offensive games is the best way to put it. Like, we have multiple guys who could do it. It was his night, and then really for most of the night, then Bruce kind of like finished really well. So I think it makes us really dynamic and puts a lot of pressure on the defense when we have that many guys that are capable. And I'm happy for him to show what he can do, because I don't think he necessarily got a chance to do that in the past.
Something I picked up on, I think everyone picked up on you when you took over late last year, was your energy, and how when the team was making positive plays, you would kind of feed off of that with just sort of your energy and the number of claps you're kind of making on the sideline. Also picking up on how often you are coaching, like actively coaching for a specific possession, whether there's a timeout and you weren't on that ball screen correctly, you will actually get out there and coach those guys. I'm wondering how you develop that style and how much time you have to do that before you have to get back to what's coming up and what we're going to draw up in the timeout break, or where that comes from for you.
Yeah, well, I think having having the space to have those kind of one-on-one conversations at times, which I think is really important. That relationship. I want that relationship and dialogue at times, back and forth with a player or a couple players, and being able to kind of coach in the moment and trusting our guys to be able to make adjustments in the moment allows that to happen. But really what creates the space is having a staff that, like, if I go down the bench to talk to a guy while play's going on, I can trust my staff to, whether it's call a set or talk through defense. And we're in a timeout, I got a staff that I can trust to, communicate a message or a specific play while maybe I'm having a specific conversation with someone else. So I think the experience and just the how we lead our staff gives me a lot of confidence that maybe I can focus in on some individuals or some specifics while that's happening. I know they're kind of seeing everything else, and it gives me a great deal of confidence to have those conversations and those coaching moments.
Want to ask about Devin Royal. I think he made 3 3-pointers all of last season, 3 of 20, and he already has 2 in the first game here for you guys. I would assume that was a lot of days and hours and nights in the gym working on extending his range. Just, are you hopeful that he can continue, maybe not shoot 50% every game, but just bring that added bit to his game, I guess?
I think, when you look at the way they were guarding some of our forwards and playing off of them, his ability to space the floor for us is going to be really important. And you don't have to shoot 50% from 3 to do that, right? Like, you got to be a threat, and he is that. Like, make no mistake, he can, and he's worked hard at it. I think that's the thing I'm most proud of is, especially this last month, like he has locked in at a really high level. And when you see guys do that and spend the extra time, all you really want is you just want results and to kind of validate that for them. And I was really just happy for him to get that validation, because I believe he can do it. I think now he's believing he can do it, and it changes the the dynamic of our spacing now that he can do that for us. And I anticipate he'll be able to do that all season. Maybe not, 50%, but.
About Michi as well. It seemed like he was kind of fighting it a little bit and still found ways to impact the game. A couple cross-court passes for threes and got a couple tough rebounds in there. I don't know. You watched how he did defensively much closer than I did, but just what were your thoughts to him and what did you say to him? I mean, to have that game and to keep going, I guess.
Yeah, I was impressed at his maturity. I think it would have been very easy for him to get frustrated or, maybe try to do too much to get himself going. But, I thought he had 2 big-time assists in the second half. I think his was the one to the dunk to Aaron, I can't remember. I think he had the dump down for Aaron's dunk and then the spray out for Bruce's 3 in front of our bench. Like, those were huge plays. And he showed a great deal of maturity in making those reads because he got to the rim so well in the first half, but didn't finish. And then he took the coaching and the adjustment. And listen, he's an elite on-ball defender. He's got to continue to get better off the ball, and he knows that. And we talk about that. We keep watching film on that. But he has an ability to be disruptive on the ball, and I thought his that didn't waver. And again, that's what makes it. I think the potential of our team really special is you can. Everybody doesn't have to be clicking and having their best offensive game for us to be a good offensive team. But we just and he showed a great deal of maturity, accepting that maybe it wasn't fully his night to have a big night offensively, and he still impacted winning. And that's going to shift to different guys, I think, as the season goes on, especially early on, as we kind of continue to build that chemistry on the court.
As the self-proclaimed best three-pointer shooter on this team, I want to ask about John. You talked about him a little bit after the game, but some of the other things in his game, what do you like outside of the three-point shooting? Where does he need to continue to grow the most, do you think?
Yeah, there's a savviness to his game offensively. He's not just a shooter. There's no question about that. He's got great touch around the basket. He's got floaters. He shoots it well off the bounce. He shoots it well off the move. So he's very much a complete offensive player. I think it's very easy. It's very easy to see, his ability to make jump shots and say like, oh man, he's a shooter. But he's a complete offensive player. He's got to continue to grow, I think, in reading, maybe ball screen reads and some paint decisions at times. But that'll come. There's no doubt in my mind that'll come, and it'll probably happen quickly. And then I think his intent, his effort, his energy defensively has really grown, and now he just needs to get reps. He needs to get experience, because like we asked him to kind of guard the guy initiating the offense some. We're asking him at times to guard guys off the ball. He's seen actions maybe he's never seen in his career as you now progress through the college season. So my biggest thing with him is just play with great intent, energy, and effort. And, I feel like he's really grown in that area. So as he continues to get more experience, I anticipate he'll be even more effective on that side. But, yeah, he's – I said this after the game. I just love his mentality. I think and coached a few guys who have a similar mentality. I mean, I think here the most, probably familiar would be Dwayne Washington. Like he just had a unwavering belief in himself, and I think Junie has the same thing. Like you can't convince him he can't make that shot, and that's how Dwayne was, and so it's a real strength because Junie's got a great IQ to go with it, and like I said after the game, he's earned it, and to have a freedom offensively because it can be such a weapon for us, and our whole team knows it.
Part of staffs probably as a player too. You get a big win like this early in the season, and it can go one of two ways, right? This can be a springboard, or last couple of years you guys have had these where it hasn't turned out the way you wanted in conference play. How do you use this to continue to build and ensure that it's not we're looking back in March and saying, well, that was a fun win, but then they didn't deliver the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think, and listen, we talked about this yesterday. It's very easy to, when when things are going bad, it's very easy to say like, oh, don't look at that or listen to this. And I think it applies when things are going good. You know, we have to be about growing. It's great to get the result that we got, and we wanted that result, and that was important. Not minimizing the result, but we have to be about growth. Like although it was a really good win against what I think is going to be a really good team, like we didn't play perfect by any means, and we have a lot of room to play better, and I think that's exciting for me, you know. And so we just got to keep, I think, being disciplined and approaching our preparation the same way. Win, lose, draw, like right now in November, you got to prepare the same way we prepared leading into Texas and earning the right to play well. We have to have that same approach for our next game. I mean, we don't have to remind ourselves of how hard it is to win in college basketball. On any given night, anything can happen. So that's what it's about for us right now is you know, preparing to play well, earning the right to play well on game day. And, you know, we have to grow. We have to grow in some areas. We've got to get better with our post defense. We got to take care of the ball better. You know, we can play faster at times. We could execute better. Like there's plenty of things that we didn't do at the level that we're capable of. But I think some of that's to be expected this time of year too. We just got to keep growing.
Coach, kind of going off of that, you know, you say that the depth of your roster, it could be a different guy every night, and you have a showing like that against a top 20 team, and then yes, you've got Youngstown State, but then 13th ranked A&M is right there. Kind of going off of his question, how does that give the kind of confidence to your guys that they maybe needed? Like you see them in practice every day, you know what they're capable of, but how does that kind of bring that confidence to the actual court to give your guys?
Yeah, I think for some guys who, you know, are playing in new roles, or you know, some guys playing for the first time college basketball, it's important, I think, to experience some individual success, you know, and to get some confidence individually. But most importantly was for us to, I think, get collective confidence and experience, you know, collective success. And the most important thing for me heading out of that game and leaving Vegas and coming back was our guys understanding that the reason we were able to play well was because of how we prepped and practiced. Like that's the message coming out of this game. Like we have to continue to do that, and the way we played should validate how we've practiced. And so it's on us to continue approaching, you know, the same way. And I think that's the biggest key. Doesn't matter who we play next. Like we have to practice and prepare well, and earn the right to then under the lights, you know, do what we did.
Yeah, getting ready for the home opener. What do you look forward to most about getting one out here in front of your guys for the first time?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be in the shot, and you know, for our fans and Buckeye Nation to be able to come see this group. You know, I think that the way we play, I think people are excited, and it creates an energy. So I'm excited to just see how it is on Monday night, and you know, I think our guys are excited to be in our gym and to be in front of friends and family and fans, and you know, I expect us to you know, to have a great turnout, and you know, for us to, you know, keep building upon how we played. It's nice not to hop on a plane to go play a game, so looking forward to it.
John's mentality, can you coach that into a player, or is that just how he's built?
John Mobley, yeah, he's built that way. You know, I think I wish I could sit here and tell you that, like, I taught him how to be that way. That's not the case. I think your job as, you know, at least I view my job as a coach is for our guys to play with confidence. And he doesn't, it's not particularly hard to inject confidence into him. Like, he's got a pretty great tank full as it is. But, you know, I want all our guys to play with confidence. And I think it comes from playing to your strengths, and it comes from, you know, working. Like, you earn confidence through time you spend in the gym. But he's always been a believer in his ability, and I've always been a believer in his ability, and I think he appreciates that, you know. So yeah, but he's a gym rat. He lives in the gym. He's been that way his whole life, and so I'm not surprised that he's kind of maintained or went into his first college game with a great deal of confidence. I think, honestly, having the Cincinnati game was important for him to kind of get that experience and helped him for the Texas game. So, yeah, I think he's got a gift when it comes to that.
And what has Austin shown for you to trust him to come off the bench, and how have you seen him sort of develop since he came in?
Yeah, I think Austin's, his physicality that he plays with, he's just got a natural strength and physicality to his game, and I felt like we needed that, in that game. And he's started to kind of figure out the system a little bit better and play at the pace we want to play at. That's a significant adjustment for him. And it's been an adjustment, for Yvonne too. Like the way we want to play, how we want to change ends it's an adjustment for all of us, but particularly those guys too. And I think Austin's done a great job the last couple of weeks of kind of taking a step forward from a consistency standpoint in practice, and that gave me just with what the game kind of required in that moment, and I felt like he did a good job when he went in. So I think he's now starting to figure that out, which will be good. All right, guys. Thank you. Yeah, both.